We started off with a really big long list of who did what sort of commute, what sort of modes of transport they used. We talked a lot about the available attention for those different types of commutes. Then we talked about some high level goals, learning, about getting local knowledge, about planning diary, entertainment, news and social. We focused down on learning. From that, we did a brainstorm about what sort of learning we were interested in. From there, we went to language learning. So we've narrowed down in successive stages. John is going to talk a little bit about the application that we're actually talking about building.
Yeah, cool. So our audience is someone who's keen to learn a new language or improve their existing language skills. Platforms would be mobiles, computers, print and postal media, and advertising. So digital and also print. So PRQs and codes and that sort of stuff. Websites. Constraints, mode of transport, journey time, ability to access and download classes for the week, and financial. Are people going to be willing to pay for a service and do use a rolling subscription model? And easily embarrassed, because there's a social aspect to the application. So the key goals are to be able to learn while travelling, to be able to meet people taking a similar course, to initiate some sort of group learning, and foster a community spirit and make it a fun experience to learn a new language. The use of social media, so use existing infrastructure, using Twitter, hashtags, Facebook groups, Flickr and Instagram. And branding would be core to the successful adoption of the application user base. Use of print and digital at stations and key transport hubs. Use of in-jokes based around the subject of the week and the day. Now the core function would be to be able to select content, view content, subscribe to content, and use it socially. So again, using Twitter, Facebook, Foursquare, and Skype.
What are you going to focus on? What are you going to wireframe in the next stage? Is it going to be mobile? Is it going to be...
Yeah. Next stage.
Joe, you're talking about...
Okay. So the next stage we've got our core functions. So we've got the using context. So it's going to rely on sort of where you're using it and what sort of learning you want to do, whether it's audio, video, or text, and that will be determined by your type of commuting and what you fancy doing for that day. And it's going to be subscription based. So viewing content is you can select your own lessons and decide what you want to learn. So it's going to be your choice of how you put together your learning package.
Okay, we're going to have to go to questions now. Anyone questions?
I just want to maybe make it a bit more sociable and more inclusive. How about people who are on the train? Actually figure out what languages people speak on the train, and they would be the ones that would teach you, rather than this course that we have to.
We're proposing using Foursquare, so that will enable learning, but it's also going to have its own content.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, when I first learned a language, I usually talk to someone who knows the language, and they teach me all the wrong words, all the bad words, but the most useful. So I'm just thinking, instead of downloading a prescriptive course, maybe those socially might be assuming people are in the area. Maybe there's something.
Well, the key social aspect actually is that, I'm not sure if you came across, everyone sort of gets, every day there's a subject. So everyone who's taking the course is basically has that same subject for the day. So that social group has common context that they can then talk about. So it's whether it's centrally prescribed or whether it's more a sort of crowdsourced content, it's relevant to everyone who's taking that course because they're all doing.
So it's like a study group.
Yeah, exactly.
You can use it however you like. You can either use these. I mean, we'll generate content, we'll generate lessons, but it's entirely up to you whether you want to say, I don't know, tweet, I'm at this station, I'm on this train, come speak French to me, or if you want to use Foursquare, or if we thought that maybe somehow within the app there'd be some kind of way of just saying, I am here, whatever, that would be built in. Because some people aren't going to want to cross the train and speak to a stranger, but other people will. So I think we've taken that into account, and we're just trying to make it as so that it will cater for as many people.
So we're going to move on to the next theme now. Thanks.
Okay, this is Fluent. It's a freemium service for people who are learning a language on the move. There's two parts of the service. It's firstly a free social tool, so you can meet and learn with people nearby. So that might be on the train, someone in the next carriage, Jeff in the next carriage. You can go and find out that he's learning French as well and talk to him. And there's also, you can learn as a solo learner, just maybe listening as you like to work. There's plenty of linking with social media, and also that previous picture kind of show how we might have big advertising campaigns. Sorry, advertising campaigns. So you might get off the tube, you've been listening to your French tape, and then you walk up the escalators, and it's like pinging some French questions to you on the screens up there, and it just makes it all a bit more fun and a bit more interactive learning. So over to you.
Cool. So we've got two user journeys. One is kind of like a super perfect world user journey, and I'll walk you through both very quickly. So the user wakes up, turns his phone on, and the phone automatically updates with this week's lesson or lessons. The user gets in their car, switches the application to map mode, and the map then speaks the directions to them in the foreign language of their choosing, and you can flick between places of interest. You can have that on or off. So if you've got a long journey, then it will point out castles and coffee shops and one right after that. The user arrives at the train station and switches the application to commute mode. The application detects the other users and groups who have their app on, obviously, and it sends out an invitation. Now this user is a guru and invites other users to join him in his carriage for a chat/lesson. Users A and B decide to take up the offer of the meeting. User C decides that they want to learn on their own for the day. Once together, the users consult their devices for the topic of the day, and the guru kicks off the discussion. The app then provides a series of topics and talking points for the journey based on time and in some case location. Journey ends and the users disembark. A and B rate their journey and the guru and the discussion topics. User C rates his journey and feeds back on the subject matter of the day. The users are congratulated by the application, and then on their way through the station hubs, they're presented with targeted digital advertising, which is what we spoke about earlier, and users can use hashtags on Twitter, Facebook, Foursquare to feedback on the application throughout the day. We have a very quick second user journey. Sorry, it's new, it's slow, it's new. Yeah, so this kind of takes the point of user C, who does the same sort of thing, gets on the train, switches to commute mode, is invited to join a conversation but declines, and self-studies. There are a variety of topic areas to choose from, so you can listen or read depending on the scale of your journey, and then at the other end, again, there's targeted marketing and feeding back and socialising throughout the day using Facebook. Right.
Shall I hold this up or put it on the table?
I don't think
The rubbish. Shall I just hold it up? Okay.
No.
You could be my glasses.
Hello there.
Yeah. Okay, so this is just a rough idea of what it's going to look like. We start off with sort of an iPhone-y type setup. So the basic three things that you can do, which is lessons, language exchange, which is the social aspect, and directions. Those just, they're buttons at the bottom. That's quite straightforward. So this is today's topic, which is food and drink, which, as we mentioned, this is all content that's already been loaded automatically. And it gives you some options. Beginner, intermediate, and advanced, which have got nice little sort of subheadings. So I click on one of these in Cafe. And it gives me various options, and what we wanted to do is make it realistically customizable. So there are different topics, but there's also different lengths of time that you can spend doing it. So buy a coffee is 10 minutes, talking about Wi-Fi, you might want to ask about Wi-Fi or whatever in your cafe, it's 5 minutes, food is 10 minutes, whatever. And you can either play it now, or you can add it to your playlist. So I click add to playlist.
Then, smoothly. See it there.
It crops up down there.
Oh, you also get, I guess, that point.
And you get another
You get
post-it
your
note as well.
flavour.
There you go. And the idea behind doing this was some people are going to be sat on their train for an hour and a half and they might just want to nip in, do 5 minutes and then go off and do something else, like work or emails or whatever. Other people might be sitting in a car for half an hour driving. And the idea of a playlist is you can put together something at the beginning of your journey and then it will just go. So once you've chosen one of those, it goes into your playlist. So say if I click that.
I just need to summarise you.
Oh, the way to explain it. So basically, okay, yeah. So that's what the playlist looks like. It talks languages around in it, so that's quite straightforward. You go to there and it goes to the next topic of conversation. Language exchange has it looks sort of these different users on your train or around you, close to you. Discussion guide is just stuff you might suggested, stuff you might want to talk about. Rate exchange is rate the conversation, was it a good conversation, and you can also rate users. This is a profile which is set up within the application. It's just got your name, your level of expertise, how other people have rated you, and various social media times. Direction. Yeah, so this is primarily just directions connected into GPS locations and tells you where to go, and you can decide whether you want also to hear about landmarks and local utilities.
In the foreign language?
In the foreign language, obviously.
That would be a bit with it.
You've got time for one question.
What did you learn from usability testing that you did, and what were the main changes that you made?
So we usability tested with you as our participant, and we changed the initial screen to be something that gave a much clearer idea of what was available, we hope. We didn't get the time to retest it, but it means that instead of starting off with just a really plain menu, it talked about the topic of the day and tried to make it clearer down the bottom what some of the functionality was.
Did you find it useful to do usability testing at that stage with paper?
It was very useful. There were other things we changed as well. Yeah, it was very useful.
I think we changed the buttons. You didn't understand. You didn't pick up immediately the taking a task and adding it to the playlist. So we tried to rewrite that a little bit.
Yeah. So
you either click play or add. So that would hopefully make that a little bit. So you either add the playlist or click play.
Sorry guys, we need to move on.
Yeah.